Hey guys, it's Leo Stargazer. I'm here today with a reading in honor of Venus moving into Libra. Venus moves into Libra on Wednesday, November 8th. And today I've chosen to do a pick a deck reading where you will pick whichever deck you are drawn to. And I will be doing an oracle pair followed by a 3-card tarot reading based on your choice. This transit will bring about some beautiful balance. There is a sense here of pleasure in harmony. There is a sense of understanding and poise. Venus loves Libra, Venus rules Libra, so there is a really good chance that we can use these archetypes for our own sense of peace. I want you to look at these cards. I have the oracle decks on top of the tarot decks. And so without thinking too deeply, go ahead and choose which one you are drawn to, which one is most aesthetically pleasing to you, which direction does your intuition send you in. And while I do recommend choosing one or the other, I do think that because this week is all about balance, it wouldn't hurt to watch both eventually. But for now, choose which deck is speaking to you the most, and we will start our readings now. Okay, so for those of you who were drawn to the deck on the left, drawn to its aesthetic qualities, you are being guided by Venus. You are being guided towards Venus. Your intuition wants to focus on the Venusian elements of Venus's time in Libra. It doesn't mean that Venus and Libra won't be in beautiful harmony, but your focus during this transit is going to be on Venus. So let's start our reading. We will begin with the oracle deck. This is the astrological oracle deck. So we will be choosing 2 cards, and those 2 cards will represent some kind of astrological concept and give us the basis for our tarot reading. So, and for your for Venus's transit in Libra for you, I think, while I'm shuffling, let's think about beauty, what you find beautiful right now, how that helps you maintain peace, and let's get started. Okay, the first card that I draw is the 3rd house. The next card I draw is the 1st quarter moon. Okay, so here, the 3rd house represents intellect. The 3rd house also represents communication, the day-to-day life, the ins and outs of our day. It could represent siblings. It's kind of a close to home idea. Not necessarily the home, but definitely something close to home, your neighborhood, that kind of feeling. And then we have the 1st quarter moon, which is a card of action. It's a lunar phase, certainly, where we are taking steps towards goals. So here, I'm interested to see this in conjunction with Venus, since your intuition is guiding you to Venus. Here we have the intellect and the communicative elements of the 3rd house, which I was associating a lot with another transit that happens this week, which is Mercury moving into Sagittarius. But here, this shows up for you. I think this is almost saying that maybe the balance with Venus in Libra is this idea of the beauty in the day-to-day, the beauty in communication, the beauty in study, things like that. But then the 1st quarter moon card shows up saying that the combination of that is going to be really active. It's going to need to be really utilized by you. So combining beauty with smarts, combining pleasure with communication, and then putting that to use so far with this oracle pair, that seems like kind of the key, but I really want to check out the tarot to get the complete picture. So for you today, the Thoth deck will be our tarot deck. I wanted to choose the astrological deck and the Thoth deck, certainly for their aesthetic similarity and balance in this particular case, but also because there's so much astrological correspondence in the Thoth, and I think since you're drawn to Venus, there is a certain kind of beauty in the harmony of that. So again, it fits this kind of Venus Libra moment. So that's why I chose it. But for now, take a deep breath. Think about Venus. Once again, think about your relationship to beauty and art and pleasure. And then let's draw our 3 cards. I'm excited to see this based on the Oracle deck, the Oracle pair. Okay, the first card that I draw is the 10 of Wands. A little unexpected. Okay, what's the second card though? The Ace of Discs. Okay, then what is our final card? And we will have our complete picture. The 7 of Swords. Okay, I have to say, I am very surprised by how this spread turned out, especially because you were drawn to Venus. I do think that the Oracle pair, the 3rd house and the 1st quarter moon, are really going to be key to understanding and unlocking the fairly challenging messaging found in the tarot cards we drew. But let's start from the first card we drew. We drew the 10 of Wands. So this is showing me that at the time of this transit, you may be feeling a little overwhelmed. Maybe it's just overwhelmed by a ton of beautiful stuff in your life that you're trying to set some boundaries. If you see the astrological correspondences for the 10 of Wands, it's Saturn and Sagittarius. So there is this idea that there is some kind of boundary that needs to be set starting now if you don't have one. I think that's the key. I think boundary setting is going to be key, and I think it's going to be boundary setting for you around some of the themes for Venus. I think, again, what's showing up here pretty obviously is this desperate need for balance and, at this stage, boundaries. The thing with the 10 of Wands here, too, is that this might be being put upon you. I'm kind of getting this idea that these burdens or this kind of overwhelming feeling is kind of being put on you. I think there's also this sense, because again, going back to the Oracle pair, that your immediate surroundings are kind of key, but also your desire to activate or your need to activate Venus's themes, Venus's archetypes, love, pleasure, beauty, all of that, into some kind of really formative thing. You really want to do that, or you're really being called to do that. And so I think the 10 of Wands showing up here is saying that all might be a little too much at the start of this transit. Venus in Libra is about balance. It's about harmony. Venus in Libra, though, does struggle to make decisions. So maybe there's something there too. You have a lot on your plate right now, and that may be difficult. It's a challenging card to get, but let's move on to the next one. It's the Ace of Discs. So the Ace of Discs shows up to say that the more material elements of Venus's transit through Libra have a ton of potential for you. There's this idea with the Ace of Discs that the gifts of the material world are yours to be had. And that's beautiful with Venus, because there are definitely parts of Venus in Venus's archetypes that can manifest in the material world. And especially in Libra, because there's this idea of using this as a balance. And so I think that the Ace of Discs showing up says, and the Ace of Discs tied in with the 10 of Wands at this point, is maybe saying that in your world, in your neighborhood, in your life, in your day-to-day experience, even in your communications, there's going to be a sense of being overwhelmed. But if we can find that balance, if we can manifest this into something productive, if we can take the steps that the 1st quarter moon gives us, we can maybe create something really beautiful in the material world. And I'm excited about that. I think the Ace of Discs here is what I'm going to be focusing on the most. And I think for you, since you were drawn to these decks and you were drawn to Venus, I think that what's going to keep you balanced is understanding how to translate beauty into the material world. So let's focus on that. But let's move on to the final card. Get the complete picture. That was the 7 of Swords for you. Another difficult card to show up here. I think what the 7 of Swords is saying here is that, well, yes, in the Thoth deck, it's under the futility keyword. It has an association with things being futile. I think here for you, though, it's implying that because of this burnout mentioned and indicated by the Ten of Wands, there might be a need for you to reach out. You may be feeling helpless, hopeless even, about whatever's overburdening you, whatever is on your mind at the start of this transit, in regard to beauty and pleasure and passion, things that are really usually not that challenging for you. I think that it's showing here that translating that, manifesting that, taking those steps, all in the context of your immediate world, your day-to-day life, that is getting to a point for you that's making you feel a little bit helpless. And I think what the 7 shows here is that what you need is to reach out. You need to branch out. You need to get help dealing with what you're dealing with. I'm thinking that could just be in a scholarly approach to this, that during this transit, as Venus is in Libra, the balance for you, balancing this kind of overwhelming sense of passion represented by the 10 of Wands, balancing that with the need to manifest things into the material world, to create something real with that. That balance is going to be so challenging that handling it on your own is kind of just getting in your way. It's unimportant. It's unessential. It's inessential. You don't need that. You don't need to do this on your own. You need to reach out for help. You need to maybe balance the responsibilities of your day-to-day so that you can experience more of the beauty so it doesn't feel so overwhelming. Maybe it's just this idea of sharing your love, sharing your art, maybe even creating art to share as a form of communication, that doing that will actually be the balance and bring about the harmony that Venus in Libra really promises. Remember, Venus loves Libra, so you need to love Libra. Your intuition was guiding you to Venus, and I think that there may be a sense of overwhelming passion for you right now. You need to do whatever you can do, probably with the help of other people, close people who are close to you literally, like close in your neighborhood, in your home situation, things like that. Translating all of this passion and all of this desire for pleasure into something for or with them will really help you get the harmony and the balance and the peace that's promised by Venus in Libra. Remember too, though, we don't want to cater too much to others during this transit. We don't want to cater to people. We can use their help without bowing to them. I think that's a really key feature for you. Because you were drawn to Venus, I think focusing on Venus instead of this idea of balance, I think is key because you were drawn to her. But based on this spread, reaching out, branching out, and involving other people in your art, in what you communicate, in your day-to-day. Remember, art doesn't have to mean painting. Art can mean just the art of routine. Motherhood is an art. Being a parent is an art. Being a student is an art. It's not just creating a piece of artwork. We need to remember that. I think this spread is saying for you specifically that study may even be an art. And what you need to do is you need to reach out, unburden yourself, by spreading and sharing as much of your art, your beauty, and your perspective on passion and pleasure, sharing that as much as possible, manifesting that into something actually physical too is really important, even if that's just communication, even if that's just words, that still counts. Doing all of that with or even for someone else, I think is going to be crucial. All in all though, based on this spread, there's a desire for you and a necessity for you to translate beauty into the material world and to do that with and or for other people. But it has to come from within, from your heart. Embrace Venus. You're being called to her during this transit. Focus on her and the Libra elements will come. I'll see you next time. Okay. If you were drawn to the deck on the right, your intuition was guiding you towards Libra and Libran archetypes. Concepts like balance and harmony are needed for you right now. You are being guided to justice, towards a unity and a harmonious relationship between and involving beauty, passion, pleasure, art, and all of that, all of the Venusian elements and archetypes, you are being drawn to the balance of all of that. The decks that I've chosen for you are the Lenormand deck and the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I chose these decks in association with Libra because I feel like they give us the straightforward, balanced approach that any planet's transits through Libra provide. Venus's transit through Libra, of course, is a little bit different because Venus is the ruler of Libra. There is definitely a sense that all of these Venus themes are going to help us achieve a specific type of balance that is essential. So, because you were drawn to Libra and to these decks, I think that there's a sense and there's a need for you, at least this is what your intuition is telling us, that you need a pragmatic, focused, and less nuanced approach. So, not that there aren't the opposite of all of that represented in these decks too, but I do think that for our purposes right now, and in juxtaposition with Venus, I think that the focus on Libra here needs to bring in a little bit of pragmatism. So hopefully these decks can do that. Let's start with the Lenormand pair. So after saying all of that, as I shuffle, just clear your mind. Don't overthink. Venus in Libra is going to provide a lot of calm as well. There is peace in this harmony. So let's just focus, but let's look at the pair and try to get a basis for the rest of the spread. The first card that I draw for you is the Anchor. Okay, then the next card in our pair is the Child. Okay, well, getting the anchor right from the start shows that your intuition guided you appropriately. Libra is very present in the anchor. There is a sense of stability, of balance, of foundations, of long-term rootedness, of a sense of being grounded. So that is really appropriate. And then we got the Child. The Child adds a really interesting and exciting sense to the anchor. So this pair is really exciting and informative for you, especially about what's going to provide you balance. We can incorporate the Venus archetypes a little later, but this pair right now is saying a new sense of balance, a new sense of foundations, a growing sense of those things as well is possible during Venus's transit through Libra for you. The anchor in the Child shows that this sense of balance, this sense of being rooted is going to be reinvigorated by Venus's presence in Libra and is going to provide you with a new perspective on what balance means for you. I'm really excited about that because it also implies that that new perspective is going to be really stabilizing. So that's awesome. I'm really interested in how the tarot spread is going to come out because this Lenormand pair really speaks to an exciting new sense of stability. And I love to see that. So let's check out the tarot spread right now. Okay, so I've chosen the Rider-Waite-Smith deck for our tarot reading. And I'm really excited about the juxtaposition of this. This Lenormand pair really makes me interested to see what the tarot has to say about how this new sense of stability could manifest for you. Or maybe even just how Venus's impact affects it. So let's see. I'll be doing 3 cards. The first card is the 4 of Wands. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, the second card. The 7 of Cups reversed. And finally, the 9 of Cups. Okay, wow. Well, it's not very often that spreads turn out this way. So I have to say, if you were drawn to these decks, you were drawn to Libra. During Venus's transit through Libra, balance is yours. There's a sense with this spread, both the Lenormand pair and the tarot, that success and harmony and beauty and pleasure and all of these things are going to be really rooting for you and really helpful. But before I get ahead of myself, just know that I'm very excited about that for you. I hope that you really take this to heart. But let's start with the first card. It was the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is so beautiful to start out this spread. It's hopeful, it's celebratory, it's liberating. There's a sense, again, that you will be rooted and grounded, but that you'll have some kind of new perspective on that, and that will be very liberating. There is a sense here, too, that you're celebrating with a community. So I do love that. There's a sense that you and your community, your people are going to find a reason to celebrate during this transit. And I love that. There's tons of beauty in this card. And I think that instantly it makes me excited. I think it also speaks to, again, like I said, this new sense of stability, this new relationship that this transit's going to give you with, or in terms of the way you look at what keeps you grounded. The second card we drew was the Seven of Cups reversed. Well, the Seven of Cups reversed is a card about decision making. So Venus's transit through Libra absolutely does not imply decision making. In fact, Venus in Libra has a really tough time making decisions. There's harmony in that. There is balance in that, this balancing of both sides of two extremes. But if you need to make choices, and we all do, this isn't really a transit for that. So to get the Seven of Cups reversed shows me that you do have access to that. I think what's key here, though, is the child. It's this idea of getting or giving yourself a new way to look at your foundational spaces, a new way to look at your relationships within your close-knit circles, within your neighborhood, a new fresh take or new fresh eyes on how you stay grounded. I think that is what's key. I think it's also where you need to come from when you need to make decisions. But guess what? You got the Seven of Cups reversed. You're going to make decisions. If you are wishy-washy on that, make a decision. Use Libra. Use the ability to see both sides to decide. And I think because the child showed up, the way that you can decide is through the eyes of newness, through a new set of eyes, through a new or fresh perspective. It's going to be essential. If you do all of that, if you figure out how to be authoritative and decisive during this transit, the stability you will get and what that stability might look like, what your new foundations might look like, is represented here by the Nine of Cups. So there's a lot of times the Nine of Cups can maybe be a little over the top, maybe a little too close to unnecessary luxury or a little overly expansive, but not for you, not here, not in this spread. He is sitting there comfortable and a little full of himself for all the right reasons for you. If you make those decisions you need to make, if you celebrate accordingly, if you allow yourself to have a fresh perspective on how you view your roots, on how you approach or trust in or rely on the stability that you perceive from that space of almost naivete, of freshness and newness. If you lead from that space and you make decisions, don't just exist in this space. I think, again, being drawn to Libra is kind of saying, okay, you were initially drawn to balance and harmony, and you still are. But that balance and harmony needs fresh perspective in your life, and that fresh perspective is going to lead to decision-making that, if done with the right people and celebrated appropriately, you will end up in the place of the Nine of Cups. You will be prideful. You will be proud. You will have everything you need. You'll be fully resourced. And as long as Venus is in Libra, you'll be able to utilize all of that to create some really beautiful, borderline luxurious kind of stuff. Whether that's the material world or whether that's just some beautiful concept or whether that's a way that you share all of this with other people, if that's how you balance it, regardless, as long as you approach your sense of stability with fresh eyes, with a new perspective, And as long as you make decisions and celebrate yourself and your people for making those decisions, you will end up in a place of definite calm, balance, and peace. But within that space, there will be pride, a little bit of luxury, tons of really beautiful things. And in that space, with that balance, you will be able to thrive and you will be able to help your communities thrive. And I think that is so beautiful. With all of that intense positivity, again, you're drawn to Libra. So I'm not saying let's bring in the negative, but I do want to add a little bit of pragmatism here. When spreads turn out this beautiful, especially in relation to Libra, I want to look on the other side a little bit. I think that let's focus on the key points instead of the negative. A fresh perspective is key. So if you need to upend some stable foundational thing and you need to use Venus to do that, that's essential. Meaning use art, use your perspective on beauty, use pleasure seeking to give you a new perspective on foundations. That's going to be key. You don't get access to any of this if you don't do that. Also, you need to make decisions. Again, Libra's not about decision making. Venus in Libra especially isn't about that. But if you can get rid of people pleasing and just focus on making a choice, that is what is going to actually please you and everyone around you. And if you celebrate your wins also, then you can have access to the Nine of Cups. Now, the Nine of Cups, again, to focus on just that other side, really honor Libra here. You don't want to become arrogant or too pompous, but you should be proud of yourself. Approach your new foundations with fresh eyes, make decisions, celebrate accordingly, and don't be afraid to enjoy what you've earned. I hope you do all of those things. I will see you next time. Okay, so after doing both of those readings, I think that Venus in Libra, Venus's transit through Libra is going to be pretty consequential. I think for everyone, based on the spreads, there is definitely a call for balancing Venusian archetypes with Libra's insistence on harmony and justice. Venus thrives in Libra, and the balance of the archetypes between the two can really be utilized and should, based on these spreads, should be utilized by everyone to create something beautiful and to make a decision. There's also this hint in all of this of involving others. I think there is definitely a call, and there was certainly in both spreads, to involve others in our journey during this transit. I think that doesn't mean, and neither spread really indicated an over-reliance on other people, but definitely there's this idea that at least you should celebrate this transit with others. Celebrate how love and beauty and pleasure, when they're in balance, can be gorgeous and harmonious and bring out the best in everyone, and can also help us manifest some really beautiful stuff. Let's lean on each other a little bit. Lean on the people who are really close to you just a little, or make decisions so that you can celebrate with them once you both succeed. Regardless, I'm really excited about this transit for all of us. We each have our own way of creating balance with beauty. We are driven and inspired to approach this stuff in a different way, to approach those themes in a different way. So let's stay unique and stay proud of ourselves, but let's also understand how harmony doesn't always just mean inner balance, and that the outer balance of our lives, of our communities, is also really, really important. Let's just at least have that in the back of our minds. But love accordingly. Help love bring peace. I think that's the message of this transit. And manifest that love into something beautiful. Something that can be used by you and others to provide balance on an even bigger scale. I hope we do. I will see you next time.